He didn't sell cryptocurrency. He didn't sell coaching. He sold a new identity, a world where you are the winner, while in reality, you are sacrificing your last dollar to a god who doesn't exist. Imagine standing in a room with 500 people. The air is thick with hope, smelling of cheap cologne and desperation. On stage stands a man in a sharp suit, bathed in a spotlight that seems divine. He isn't shouting. He isn't begging for your money. He is whispering into your subconscious. He is telling you that you are special, that the world has lied to you, that your 9-to-5 job is a cage, and only he holds the key. This is Leonardo Cositorto. And if you are listening to him, you are already the victim of a crime that hasn't happened yet. In the next 40 minutes, we are not just looking at a Ponzi scheme. We are dissecting a psychological massacre. We are going inside the Zoe Experiment to understand how one man used the art of language, Neurolinguistic Programming, to dismantle the defense mechanisms of over 100,000 people across the globe. From the streets of Buenos Aires to the high-rise offices in Miami, the virus was the same. It wasn't a virus of code. It was a virus of the mind. Before we enter the mind of the architect, I have a mission for you. The financial world is full of shadows like this one. If you want to uncover the truth behind the money, subscribe to Capital Noir now. Join the investigation. Don't let them keep you in the dark. Now let's open the file. To understand the mind architect, we must first understand the landscape he exploited. The year was 2020. The world was locked down. Fear was the currency of the day. People were isolated, losing their jobs, losing their connection to reality. In this vacuum of hope, Leonardo Cositorto appeared not as a CEO, but as a savior. Most scammers talk about ROI, return on investment. They bore you with charts and graphs. Cositorto was smarter. He talked about return on being. He understood a fundamental truth about the modern hustle culture and the American psyche. People are lonely, and they feel undervalued. They don't just want to be rich. They want to be right. They want to prove to their doubters, their ex-wives, their skeptical fathers, their bosses, that they are geniuses. He used a technique called the Messiah mirror. When he spoke, he didn't use the word I, he used we. He mirrored the frustrations of the middle class with surgical precision. We are tired of the banks, he would say. We are tired of the inflation that eats our children's future. We are the awakened ones. By doing this, he bypassed the critical thinking part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex. He wasn't a salesman anymore. He was a comrade in arms. He was the voice you were too afraid to use. But here is the dark secret of his architecture. The linguistic trap. He created his own vocabulary. In the world of Generation Zoe, you weren't an investor. You were a student of life. You weren't buying a token. You were investing in your spiritual capital. Why does this matter? Because language shapes reality. If you are an investor and you lose money, you sue. You call the police. But if you are a student and you lose money, you don't demand a refund. You blame yourself for not studying hard enough. You look inward. Cositorto reframed the concept of financial loss into a spiritual lesson, making it impossible for the victim to admit they were being robbed without admitting they were a bad student. He built a defense mechanism inside the victim's own mind. Let's go deeper into the mechanism. How do you convince a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer to sell their house and give the money to a man who sells promises? You use NLP, Neurolinguistic Programming. Cositorto mastered the salami technique of public speaking. He would start his seminars with 95% irrefutable truth. He would talk about how hard it is to make money in the traditional economy. True. He would talk about how the government prints money, devaluing your savings. True. He would talk about the importance of self-belief. True. The audience nods. Their brains enter what psychologists call a yes state. Once the neural pathways are greased with agreement, he drops the 5% poison. The promise of 7.5% monthly returns in US dollars. In any other context, your brain would scream, scam, Ponzi, danger. But because you've already said yes 10 times in the last 5 minutes, the consistency bias kicks in. Your brain wants to stay consistent. If you agreed with his premises, you feel compelled to agree with his conclusion. He hacked the brain's desire for internal logic to inject a mathematical impossibility. He also mastered future pacing. This is a technique used by hypnotists. He wouldn't tell you numbers on a spreadsheet. He would describe in vivid sensory detail the future he was building for you. Imagine, he would say, his voice dropping an octave. Waking up in the Zoe resort in the Caribbean. Smell the salt air. Feel the sand. You aren't worrying about your alarm clock. He was painting a digital reality so bright, so visceral, that the gray, dull reality of your actual bank balance seemed like the lie. Neuroscience tells us the brain struggles to distinguish between a vivid imagination and a real memory. He hacked this glitch. He made the dream feel like a memory you just hadn't accessed yet. He sold dopamine hits, and the buy-in price was your life savings. And then, the negative constraint removal. He attacked your prudence. I am not asking you for money, he'd say. Money is just paper. The banks print it every day. I am asking for your commitment to greatness. See what he did there? By trivializing money, he made the victim feel small for worrying about their savings. Are you really going to let a few $1,000s stand between you and the person you were meant to be? It was a masterclass in shame-based selling. He made the act of questioning him seem like an act of self-betrayal. Generation Zoe wasn't just a company. It was a digital ecosystem designed to consume 100% of your attention. Cositorto was live streaming for hours every single day. Why? Because repetition is the mother of conditioning. If you hear a lie once, you question it. If you hear it for 4 hours a day, every day, while looking at a man who seems to have all the answers, it becomes your soundtrack. It becomes the voice in your head when you sleep. He created social proof loops. In his Zoom calls, hundreds of people would testify how Zoe changed their lives. Many of these people were paid shills or early winners of the Ponzi scheme. But to a new recruit, it looked like a revolution. It's the Ash conformity experiment on a global scale. If everyone in the room says the line is blue, even though you see it's red, eventually you will doubt your own eyes. You will say it's blue just to belong, because in the mind architect's world, being out was worse than being broke. The fear of missing out, FOMO, was replaced by the fear of exclusion. He built an immune system against the truth. This is the hallmark of every dangerous cult, from Jonestown to NXIVM. He taught his followers to label any outside criticism as hate or envy. Your family doesn't understand your vision, he would tell them. Your friends are stuck in the matrix. They want to keep you poor. He isolated the victims. He cut the lifelines. If your wife warned you about the scheme, she wasn't protecting you. She was blocking your abundance. He turned the victim support systems into enemies. Now, the only friend they had left was Leonardo, and the only way to keep that friend was to keep paying. But gravity exists, even in a cult. By late 2021, the math began to crack. The 7.5% monthly payouts became unsustainable. The pyramid needed fresh blood, but the supply of fools was running dry. When the payments stopped, the final, most terrifying phase of the manipulation began, the persecution narrative. A normal CEO would apologize. Cositorto declared war. He didn't say, "I failed." He said, "They are attacking us." He told his followers that the elite, the banks, and the traditional media were conspiring to kill Zoe because they were scared of our power. He turned the financial collapse into a holy war. And then he did the unthinkable. He asked for more money. He launched Zoe 2.0, promising even higher returns to those who stayed loyal during the attack. And tragically, thousands gave it to him. This is the sunk cost fallacy in its deadliest form. The victims had invested so much money, so much emotion, and so much of their identity into Cositorto that admitting he was a liar meant admitting they had been fools for years. It meant their entire reality was a lie. The pain of that realization was too great. So they chose the comfortable lie over the brutal truth. They paid the ransom for their own dignity, throwing good money after bad into a burning pit. Interpol issued a red notice. The manhunt began. Cositorto fled across borders, broadcasting from secret locations, still wearing his suit, still smiling, still selling the dream while the handcuffs were being prepared. Even as the police closed in, he was live streaming, playing the victim, the martyr, the misunderstood genius. Leonardo Cositorto was eventually captured. The visual of the Messiah in handcuffs should have broken the spell. But for many, it didn't. To this day, there are groups on Telegram, echo chambers of the faithful, waiting for his return. They believe this is just another test. That is the ultimate proof of his success as a mind architect. He didn't just steal their money. He recoded their perception of reality. Why does this story matter to you sitting in the US, far away from Argentina? Because the Zoe virus is mutating. The mind architect is still out there. He isn't always Leonardo. Sometimes he is a tech visionary, promising a revolution in AI. Sometimes he is a Forex guru on Instagram showing you a rented Lamborghini. Sometimes he is a faceless admin in a Discord group. They all use the same blueprint. They find your pain. They offer a community. They weaponize your hope. The most expensive thing you can own in this world is a mind that is looking for a shortcut. The mind architect doesn't hunt for stupid people. He hunts for impatient people. He hunts for people who are tired of the grind. So the next time someone offers you a key to a kingdom you didn't build, remember the golden prison of Generation Zoe. Remember that in the financial world, if you are being sold a dream, you are the one paying for the nightmare. Stop looking for the Messiah. He isn't coming. The only person who can architect your future is the one looking back at you in the mirror. This is Capital Noir. We investigate the darkness so you can see the light. If this deep dive opened your eyes, hit that like button. It helps us expose more scams to the algorithm. And tell me in the comments, have you ever seen a cult of money operating in your city? Name them. Let's investigate. Subscribe for the next file. Case closed.